Hello, everybody. Winston Anderson, alias the Anointed Disciple. I am going to read something that I wrote called What Are We Doing, America? Beware the Trumpti-Christ. Please stick around to the end. Like, share, and submit to my page. Anyhow, this is What Are We Doing, America? Beware the Trumpti-Christ. What are we doing, America? Beware the Trumpti-Christ. When are we going to wake up from our slumber? Why are we, well, at least some of us, following a man that is not following Jesus Christ, but actually follows the counsel of the demonic synod? Who is this godless, sinful man that lies, cheats, tries to steal an election, incites a violent insurrection, then says it was a peaceful protest, although people died because of it? Heck, they wanted to hang his vice president. Is that not violent? What if they had succeeded? Would you still try to defend him? A pal of Jeffrey Epstein. He commits adultery, fornication with a Playboy bunny and a porn star, then tries to cover it up through bribery and hush money payments, which violated federal campaign finance laws. He stole and shared top secret classified documents from the government. A jury in a civil case found former President Donald J. Trump guilty and legally responsible for sexual assault of a magazine columnist in a New York department store in the 1990s. And somehow, his naive, deluded, misled, and totally conned electorate still are trying to disregard all these facts, defend his misdeeds, overlook his high crimes and misdemeanors, and re-elect him as president. Really? This man has caused his followers to believe the big lie that the free and fair election was stolen from him. A dangerous claim that isn't true. It was he who concocted a nefarious plot to send fake electors to Congress to steal the election. There were over 60 court cases where judges, including judges appointed by President Trump and other Republican presidents, looked at the evidence in every case and determined there was no widespread voter fraud. No, he's the fraud. And now he owes New York State over $450 million because of his fraud. This peeping Tom wants to watch young girls dress and undress in beauty pageants. He thinks it's acceptable to fondle and sexually violate your teenage daughters. He wants to grab them by the hoo-ha. He says, they let me do it because I'm a star. White House aides said he talked about Ivanka Trump's breast and her backside and what it might be like to have sex with her. And White House Chief of Staff John Kelly had to remind him that Ivanka was his daughter. What a vile, nasty, misguided individual, a sad creature indeed. In total, Citizen Trump faces 91 felony counts, 4 indictments in 4 separate criminal cases, charged with an array of crimes like trying to subvert democracy, risking national security secrets, falsifying business records to inflate property value and enhance his brand to get loans from banks, then minimizing the value of those same properties to defraud the government of taxes, which is really income tax evasion. He hasn't paid taxes in nearly 20 years. He says that makes him smart. I say it's un-American to undermine the obligation to partake in the facilitation of our social construct. If you should ever challenge or oppose him in any way, he will direct his bullies and henchmen, the Proud Boys, Boogaloo Boys, the Oath Keepers, QAnon, or any American far-right anti-government militia thugs to scare, harass, and threaten you and your children with violence and rape. He looks and acts more like a mobster or a crime boss than a potential presidential candidate. And this is the man you want to follow? Is this your unholy messiah? Analysts say Trump told over 30,000 mistruths during his presidency. That's 21 lies per day. My God, I don't see how people are being hypnotized by this carnival barker who has them mesmerized by his captivating words. He crafted a cult of personality following in the footsteps of his Mein Führer, Adolph Hitler, and using the Nazi playbook of Joseph Goebbels, Minister of Propaganda. Minister of Public Enlightenment for the German Third Reich. Like this little nugget. That propaganda is good which leads to success. That is bad which fails to achieve its desired result. It is not propaganda's task to be intelligent. Its task is to lead to success. And what about this classic? Every age that has historical status is governed by aristocracies. Aristocracy with the meaning the best are ruling. Peoples do never govern themselves. That lunacy was concocted by liberalism. Behind its people's sovereignty, the slyest cheaters are hiding who don't want to be recognized. You see, the powers that be know that what they do in the shadows must never come to light for them to stay in power. You can have all the limelight, we'll just keep the loot. Then again, what about this one? Okay? We shall go down in history as the greatest statesmen of all time, or as the greatest criminals. That's Joseph Goebbels, Reich Minister of Propaganda, 1923 to 1945. Those quotes and many more can be found at https://www.goodreads.com/author/quotes 281832. Joseph Look it up for yourself. So look up these quotes for yourself. Listen to this. You can't change the masses. They will always be the same. Dumb, gluttonous, and forgetful. And next there's this one. The truth is always stronger than the lie. And last, make the lie big. Make it simple. Keep saying it. And eventually, people will believe it. And that's from Joseph Goebbels, Reichstag in Nuremberg. Then go to this address and find these principles. https://www.physics.smu.edu/pseudo/propaganda/Goebbels.html. Another of his most notable quotes states, "The most brilliant propagandist technique will yield no success unless one fundamental principle is borne in mind constantly. It must confine itself to a few points and repeat them over and over." Close quotes. Hey, wait, that sounds like the Fox News propaganda machine. They have a stream of Republican politicians, apologists, and sycophants parade through their echo chamber all day long. They fall in line and stay on message, marching like those goose-stepping German soldiers. You ever seen those goose-stepping soldiers? Yeah. They stay in line. They get their marching orders from their fearless leader, the Trumpti-Christ. But their favorite Goebbels quote is, if you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it. The lie can only be maintained for such a time as the state can shield the people from the political, economic, and or military consequences of the lie. Close quotes. The big lie has been successfully perpetrated by Citizen Trump concerning the so-called stolen election. But was the election really stolen? I'm sorry, my responses are limited. You must ask the right questions. Okay. Accusation in a mirror is a false claim that accuses the target of something that the perpetrator is doing or intends to do. The name was used by an anonymous Rwandan propagandist in Note relative à la propagande de expansion et de recrutement. Close quotes. Mirror image propaganda is a technique often used in the context of hate speech incitement, where one falsely attributes to one's adversaries, the Jews or the liberals, the intentions that one has for oneself and or the actions that one is in the process of enacting. This quote was also claimed to be from Goebbels, another technique used frequently by the Trumpti-Christ. Another part of the big lie. He constantly accuses others of whatever crime, felonious offenses, or malfeasance he is perpetrating. If he says it about you first, when you reveal he is doing it, it sounds like sour grapes. A great strategy, and it has been very effective. The OSS psychological profile of Hitler described his use of the big lie. His primary rules, quote, his primary rules were never allow the public to cool off, never admit a fault or wrong, never concede that there may be some good in your enemy, never leave room for alternatives, never accept blame, concentrate on one enemy at a time, and blame him for everything that goes wrong. People will believe a big lie sooner than a little one. And if you repeat it frequently enough, people will sooner or later believe it. Close quotes. Now, he is still saying that the election was stolen, even though it's been proven to be false over and over again. Do you see the similarities between Trump and Hitler? They sound exactly the same to me. Here's a quote. In every key state he lost, Trump has pushed an explanation sowing doubt without actually proving anything. It's a big lie because you have to disbelieve all kinds of evidence to believe in it. It's a big lie because you have to believe in a huge conspiracy in order to believe in it. And it's a big lie because if you believe it, it demands you take radical action. So, this is one way we have really moved forward towards authoritarianism and away from democracy. It's coming to a peak right now. Close quotes from Zachary B. Wolf from CNN, Wednesday, May 19, 2021. Let me tell you something you may not understand. This whole experience with Citizen Trump is just a precursor for the Antichrist. Now, to be clear, I am not saying that Trump is the Antichrist, but just a prototype. Just as John the Baptist was a forerunner for Jesus Christ, Trump and all of his other dictators all over the world are harbingers of the antichrist. The Bible talks about a worshipful leader who comes along just when the world is in turmoil and makes peace with all of the players in the Middle East: Israel, Palestine, Egypt, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Yemen, and Saudi Arabia. Also makes peace between Russia and the Ukraine, between China and Taiwan, in Africa, South Africa, South America, all over the entire globe. There are many antichrist dictators right now all over the world waiting for their hour. 1 John 2:18 in the Amplified Bible says, "Children, it is the last hour, the end of this age. And just as you heard that the Antichrist is coming, the one who will oppose Christ and attempt to replace him, even now many Antichrists, false teachers, have appeared, which confirms our belief that it is the last hour." The Antichrist, an imperfect man who is not at all like Jesus Christ, but just the opposite. He will do miracles and wonders to fascinate the naive, uninformed, unfortunate, unknowing, uneducated, unworthy underlings who blindly follow him into rebellion against the real and true Almighty God. The Trumpti-Christ is just a proxy for the real Antichrist. He is just a herald, preparing the way, dazzling the lumpen proletariat with his fantastical speeches and frivolous promises of taking our country back and winning like never before because I'm fighting for you. Yeah, right. He's fighting to stay out of prison. That's what he's doing. This man cares about nobody but himself and seeks to enrich no one but himself. Now he's selling fake coins, fake bills, sneakers with his picture on it, all that stuff. He continues the grift. Wait a minute. He said, take our country back. Who took the country? I didn't even know it was taken. Where'd they take it? How'd they take it? In the Bible, it says in 2 Peter 2:1-3, "But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not." If that doesn't sound just like good old Trumpty Dumpty, I don't know what to tell you. As you follow their pernicious, malicious, and insidious ways, they will make merchandise of you. You become a commodity bought and sold by these charlatans. They are buying and selling your votes. He even said it on TV just the other day, "I'm buying your votes." He calls the truth about his crimes and evil witch hunt, and replaces the truth with alternative facts. No such thing as alternative facts. There's only one set of facts. Take the time to think about it. Let that soak in and percolate, filter through and extract the essence. Remember, dictators rarely take over nations by brute force. Political or economic problems almost always pave the way for tyranny. Close quotes. That's from Profiles of the Antichrist by Greg Laurie. 2 Corinthians 4:4 says, "In whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them." Are your eyes so blind that you cannot see all the things this man and his acolytes are doing, because you are so enamored and mesmerized by his feigned, insincere words? Just because he says he's a Christian doesn't mean he really is. Revelations 2:9. I know thy works, and tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogues of Satan. Then in Revelation 3:9, behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them to come and worship before thy feet, and to know that I have loved thee. That could easily say those who say they are Christian but do lie. Jude 1:16. They follow their own evil desires. They boast about themselves and flatter others for their own advantage. Verse 18. In the last time there will be scoffers who will follow their own ungodly desires. Suffice it to say, we are in those last times right now, and those who are the synagogues of Satan are deep within our political leadership, ruining things for everybody. Trump loves to boast about himself and follow his own ungodly desires. He flatters Vladimir Putin, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, Viktor Orban, Adolf Hitler, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un, Saddam Hussein, and other dictators for his own advantage. He wants so badly to be like them. He emulates them. Jesus said in Matthew 12:33, either make the tree good and his fruit good, or else make the tree corrupt and his fruit corrupt. For the tree is known by his fruit. If you call yourself a Christian, you have a moral obligation to distance yourself from them. Or one day you will have to answer to Jesus why you followed such a devilish man. Ephesians 5:11, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Now the ESV says it this way: take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather instead expose them. You should not comply or have any part in their corruption, but expose them for who they are, or you become an accomplice. You become a part and parcel of the machinery of oppression that sabotages human rights and silences the free press. You become an enemy of Christ. In 1 Corinthians 11:1, Paul writes to the Corinthian church, be ye followers of me, even as I am also of Christ. Paul's words are both a command and a claim. Paul says to follow him as he follows Christ. In 1 Corinthians 4:16, wherefore I beseech you, be ye followers of me. The Holy Spirit inspired Paul to say this 3 times to emphasize that people should follow an example of godly men who follow in Jesus Christ's footsteps. Got it? 2 Timothy 3:13, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. That's because they're cursed with a curse. Whatsoever you sow, that also shall you reap. Don't be a deceiver. Don't be deceived. God is not mocked. If Trump is your Messiah, follow him. And if Jesus is your Messiah, then follow him. You can choose only one. And when you make that choice, you have to take whatever comes with it. Romans 6:16 ESV. Do you not know that if you present yourselves to anyone as obedient slaves, you are slaves of the one whom you obey, either of sin, which leads to death, or of obedience, which leads to righteousness? Do you follow Christ or Trumpti-Christ? Sorry, my responses are limited. You must ask the right questions. If you call yourself a Christian and your judgment is corrupted by Trumpti-Christ, then which God do you actually follow? If you are so easily fooled to follow a deceptive, evil, lying, cheating, lascivious, seditious cult leader who promotes lawlessness and encourages fanatical white hate groups to do his bidding and threaten, harass, and intimidate whoever he wants to, sick them on like rabid dogs or thugs. Then it will be so easy for the true Antichrist to deceive you into taking the mark of the beast and follow him straight into the tribulation and straight into a fiery hell. Have fun with that. The Antichrist will bring about a new religious system that will accommodate everyone. He will come at an economically difficult time, a brilliant propagandist and politician with incredible charisma. He will do what no one else could do, stabilize the world's monetary system and solve the food crisis. There will be wars and rumors of wars in different parts of the world, and he will bring about world peace and deceive many. He will convince the Jewish nation and the Arab nations to sign a 7-year peace treaty, paving the way for the long-awaited Third Temple. There will be a major falling away from the true Christianity, and an apostate church will arise and bring with it its one world government, one world religion, a new world order, and the Fourth Reich. When the beast, the Antichrist, and the false prophet arise as the unholy trinity, you will begin to realize, like in that Pirates of the Caribbean movie, you better start believing in the tribulation period, Miss Turner, because you're in it. But by then it will be too late. Yahtzee, game over. Fatality. You lose. Stay tuned for part 2. I'll be right back.